For you just joining us, this is a live episode. We're about to start of the Never Again Live podcast with Mayor Levy Weinstein. He'll be with you momentarily. We're going to get things moving here. And Mayor, when you're ready to start talking, just start talking, and I'll start off this little slide that will.
Okay, I'm just going to wait for some of our supporters to join us. Gary?
Yes.
Did you, the title for the show, did you change it? Gary?
Yes, I did.
Perfect.
Reviving the Islamic Spirit.
Excellent. Okay. Okay, I'm ready to go.
Okay. Those just joining us, I'm glad to see some people are on. Join us on our YouTube channel or go to our website at israelnow.ca. This is an important episode tonight. It's during the week of Hanukkah, and there's, as always, anti-Semitism running rampant. We'll bring Mayor on momentarily, just for you just joining us. Again, do share this now with your YouTube station or on our website. This is an important episode. Mayor is going to talk about several things which have gone on this past weekend, as well as what's about to happen in the upcoming moments that follow in the next few days. Mayor, you there with us?
I'm here.
The spirit of RIS 2022, a blessed reunion, and we'll talk a little bit later about the various guest speakers. This is a consortium of people from all over the planet to influence our youth in the spirit of what they call Islam. They distinguish scholars and presenters from all over the world. Mayor, take it away.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Let me ask our supporters out there if you could please share this with the various platforms that you're on, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever social media platform that you use. We'd really appreciate it. We'll reach a lot more people. Before we start, let me just say Mazel Tov to Prime Minister now, Benjamin Netanyahu. He a few hours ago, he informed the president of Israel, Isaac Herzog, that he has the support of a coalition, and it's due to be sworn in sometime next week. And it's very exciting because this is a government that's composed of people on what they call the right wing, and I just say the more Jewish side of Israel. So Israel is going to be known as a much more Jewish state. The character of it, the personality of it, the direction of Israel will be a vibrant Jewish state. And it will take stronger measures against those who threaten the existence of that one little tiny Jewish state in the world. Let's not lose sight that for all those anti-Semites out there that don't accept Israel's right to exist and throw all kinds of slander against Israel, the state of Israel is less than 0.1% of the entire Middle East. It's that small. And they consider any size of a Jewish state to be an offense to them, and they want to uproot it. But the Jewish people in the state of Israel is extremely strong and successful, and it's not going to happen. Last Saturday night, there was a BDS group that stormed into the Jewish community in Toronto, North York. They decided on Saturday night that they were going to protest outside of a yeshiva called Or Chaim Yeshiva. They used the excuse that they didn't like one of the programs that was going on at the yeshiva, that there was a speaker in from Israel, speak about Jews living in the land of Israel and encouraging more Jews to live in the land of Israel. Their goal was to enter the premises of the yeshiva and to disrupt the event. Thank God I heard of this last minute, and I was able to put together people to show up and counter these anti-Semites, and that's exactly what we did. We countered them. We wouldn't allow them to go inside and harass anyone. We made sure that there was a lot of security there as well. All this, I'm very proud to say that at the last minute I was able to get this organized. And this particular BDS group, they vowed that they're going to continuously come back to the Jewish community. And you know what? We're ready. I'm ready. As long as I'm here, I'm going to do whatever it takes, roll up my sleeves and use my influence in the Jewish community and make sure that there's always going to be a counter. And we're always going to be coming up on top of the state. That's exactly what it is. Now, at the this particular BDS protest on Saturday night, they were actually holding signs that were defaming the Holocaust. And let me just give a little bit of background so you get a little flavor of this, who these people are. We have a videotape, but just before we show the videotape, a few minutes of it, let me just mention who the group is, the main group. It's some kind of umbrella BDS group going under the name Justice for Ontario BDS. Now, if you go onto their Twitter account, you'll see who their followers are. They're public. Organization Canadians for Justice and Peace in the Middle East. Okay, it's a well-known BDS group in Canada. Independent Jewish Voices, the so-called Rabbi Mabusser, Samadon Network. Samadon has been listed by the government of Israel as a terrorist organization. You have a teacher from the TDSB that's a known BDS activist. You have the mapping project that has been exposed extensively from the United States, and they have support here amongst the BDS, so their followers also. And this organization, the mapping project, their goal is to target Jewish communities throughout the world. There's a number of other. Joel Harden is a follower as well, NDP MP. Just to give you a flavor. So, when you look at who follows this group and the fact that they go to a yeshiva, a Jewish yeshiva, a religious Jewish institution in the Jewish community, and they actually hold signs defaming the Holocaust and accusing the Jewish people in Israel of committing a Holocaust against what they call the Palestinians. Now, we have a brief tape from Saturday night. We'll show it to give you a flavor of what was happening. We'll just show a few minutes of that. If our doctor in the studio could show that tape, let's go.
Let me get that queued up for you momentarily, and
okay.
Here it is.
You know how many bosses have
our cities, you stole our culture.
How many bosses?
That, regardless of the temperature, regardless of the time of the year, regardless of
And you can see the different posters. The trailing is a little slow tonight with the internet, and it's pretty cold here, so we'll freeze it when we need to.
You play around with your
Was it your sister? Was it your mother? Was it your mother that blew up the buses? Was it your father that
illegal expulsion of Palestinians from their
Let's skip through the show to the highlights.
just answer the question?
You don't follow rules. You don't follow
Bibi Netanyahu.
I think that pretty much gives you the idea.
You
What do
don't
you think,
follow
Mayor?
human rights. You don't follow shit.
Netanyahu. Bibi Netanyahu. It's a simple question.
And again, I think what's important is the sign that it says, you know, one Holocaust does not justify another. Well, there isn't another. It's shown there is only one Holocaust. Mayor, I'm going to put you back on the screen. And I think our audience gets the idea of what was going on at that conference, at that mob, actually.
Yes, I think it's very important for people to understand when you come to the Jewish community on a Saturday night, you know, with loudspeakers, and you're holding a sign defaming the Holocaust and accusing the Jewish people of committing a Holocaust, that is anti-Semitism. And when you go through the list of their followers and you see who they are, what does this have to do with the so-called, what they said the protest is about, the protest against a person from Israel who was speaking at the Or Chaim Yeshiva? They tried to mislead people that that's the reason why they're there. But then once they start showing these signs and holding these signs and swearing at Jews and making these wild accusations and these anti-Semitic tropes, it becomes very clear that the only reason that they're there is to spread anti-Semitism, is to try to intimidate the Jewish community. It's not going to happen. You know, during COVID, the Jewish community was extremely careful about the virus, and you know, they weren't having public events, but these BDS groups certainly were. And when 2021, when I organized a counter protest with the JDL at Nathanfield Square in Toronto, and there were thousands of people who support the BDS there, we didn't get the turnout that we thought we would get, in large part because the Jewish community was, for the most part, probably 95% adhering to the health regulations, not to gather in large numbers or anything like that. So, you know, we saw a lot of violence that day, and certainly in the United States and other cities, there's so many attacks against the Jewish people. Well, COVID's behind us now, and we're not going to stand for it at all, period. So that's why, you know, the last Saturday night, I organized Jews to go and confront the BDS and stop them. And literally, it was, you know, right after Shabbat. I had maybe about an hour to make phone calls and send out emails and contact the right people. And I was able to mobilize people to show up and also provide security there for the Jews who are attending the event at the Or Chaim Yeshiva. There certainly is going to be a lot more. Why do these BDS groups come out to the Jewish community to try to spread this intimidation and anti-Semitism? They come out because in their community, in the Islamic community, anti-Semitism is taught, and it's coddled, and it's that's just the way it is. There's a conference that's scheduled in Toronto, starting this weekend coming up, starting on Friday, and it's the RIS Islamic Conference. Now, I sent a letter of complaint to the Solicitor General and the Metro Toronto Convention Center regarding this conference. I'm going to read you this letter that I sent. Let me just find it. Then we're going to get into some of the identities of the people who are speaking at the conference. But just to give you a flavor, I'm just going to read this letter. Let it just come up here on my screen. Okay. I sent a letter of complaint to the Metro Toronto Convention Center and also to the Solicitor General of Ontario, MPP Honorable Michael Kersner, regarding the speakers at this conference. Now, why would I send it to the Solicitor General? Well, it ends up that the Metro Toronto Convention Center is a crown corporation of the province of Ontario and therefore is subject to the laws of Ontario. So here's the letter. To whom it may concern. The Metro Convention Center is a crown corporation of the province of Ontario and therefore is subject to the laws of Ontario. The government has adopted the IHRA working definition of anti-Semitism. That's important because they understand what anti-Semitism is, and therefore, if it's a crown corporation and we would point out to the government and the representative of law, who is the Solicitor General, what is going on at this event at the convention center, is definitely in contravention of hate codes, anti-hate laws that they have at their disposal. So the letter goes on. It has come to my attention that some of the speakers invited to the RIS Islamic Conference, December 23rd to 25th, at the Metro Convention Center have made public extreme anti-Semitic statements. I'm asking the government of Ontario and the MTCC to have police and security people monitoring the event for hate. I'm providing some examples of speakers for the RIS conference. I'm also ready to provide more information. So we have lots of information, and I'm just giving them a little bit of information of a few of the speakers. Dr. Yasser Qadhi is speaking at the RIS Islamic Conference. He promoted Holocaust denial and compares Israel to Nazi Germany. And he says on his Twitter account he's excited to be attending the RIS convention this year. Here's something that Dr. Qadri has said. Hitler never intended to mass destroy the Jews. There are a number of books out written by Christians on this. You should read them. The Hoax of the Holocaust. I advise you to read this book. You may want to write this down. The Hoax of the Holocaust. A very good book. All of this is false propaganda. I know it sounds so far-fetched, these theories, but read it. The evidences are very strong. They are talking about newspaper articles, clippings, and everything. And look up yourself what Hitler really wanted to do. We're not defending Hitler, by the way, but what the Jews, by the way, that they portray him also is not correct. That's what he says. He's one of their speakers. In August 19th, 2014, Qadhi said on his Facebook page, Israel is following some of the very same tactics that Nazi Germany did in dehumanizing the Palestinians. So on the one hand, he's denying the Holocaust. On the other hand, he's accusing Israel of committing a Holocaust against Palestinians. In August 2nd, 2014, on a Facebook post, he likened Israel supporters, Israelis, to Nazi propagandist Joseph Goebbels. There's another speaker, Dr. Omar Suleiman. He's going to speak there. Suleiman is quoted. He equated Israel to Nazi Germany in a Facebook post. Quote, New York Times in 1943 blames the Jews for resisting the Holocaust. The parallels to how media is covering the current massacre in Gaza are mind-blowing. Want to know what it is like to live under the Nazis? Look no further than how the Palestinians are treated daily by apartheid Israel. That's what he says. He's one of the keynote speakers. There's a whole section on him on Canary Mission also if you want to find out more information. There's another speaker. Other speaker, his name is Tariq Jamil. Tariq Jamil claimed in a video to his nearly 6 million subscribers, that's a lot of subscribers, that Jews had distorted the holy books. Distorted the holy books, the Bible, the Quran, you name it, the holy books. And he's speaking at the RIS convention. So how is it that we have people, BDS groups that are largely Islamic, coming into the Jewish community to harass the Jewish community because the people they look up to, their educators, are these types of anti-Semites? Now, we have a lot more information that we want to share with you right now. We've Gary prepared something to show about the RIS. It's very important to pay attention to this, and please, also who's watching and who is going to be sharing this further later tonight or tomorrow, please share this throughout social media so we really get onto this.
Okay, Mayor, and anytime you want during this little video expose, Mayor, jump right in. I'll put it on pause. And again,
Absolutely.
as everybody already knows, there's a upcoming conference, which is basically a anti-Semitic, Jew-bashing, BDS-supporting conference, which is being called Spirit of RIS, which is the Reviving the Islamic Spirit. And first, important to notice that it's sponsored by the Islamic Relief Canada. That's important since they've been funding Hamas and Hamas since 1984. Also sponsoring this program is the Islamic Society of North America. It's interesting to note that this particular society, the Department of Justice, named them as co-conspirators in the Holy Land Foundation terrorist financing case. Again, that's who's sponsoring this conference that we're going to expose momentarily. In that terrorism financing scheme where the Islamic Society was involved, there are 5 individuals who were sentenced to a total of 180 years in prison. And of course, it wouldn't be expected that Samadan wouldn't jump on. And Samadan is saying, free the Holy Land 5. Well, they're not quite up with the times because 2 of them have already served the 20-year jail sentences and they're out of prison. So there are only 3 left in prison, actually. So at least they should say free the Holy Land 3, since 2 they could not free, but they did serve their 20 years. These are 3 who still remain imprisoned. So this is distinguished scholars and presenters from around the world will be speaking at this conference. So who are these people? We'll start off with Sheikh Yasir Qadri. And amongst other things, he says the Holocaust is a hoax. Again, this is who's going to be impressing upon young Islamic Canadians. He also said Hitler never intended to mass destroy the Jews, and the USA is behind ISIS. That's one of the keynote speakers at the upcoming conference. He also said, look at them, referring to Ashkenazi Jews, white crooked noses, blonde hairs. These are not the descendants of Jacob. So when did he become a historian on Jewish history? And he states that anti-Semitism is unknown in Islamic history. Obviously, he doesn't know his Jewish history or his Islamic history. So he wins the official Canary Mission Badge of Honor. Besides Yasser Quadri speaking, we also have Abdul Nasir Yangda. He represents the Islamic Society of North America, who we just spoke about. Not only have they been condemned by the American government, they have also been stripped of their charitable status by the Canada Revenue Agency. He also defends female sex slavery. Again, this is a guest speaker. And he advocates for the death penalty for those who abandon Islam. You can't make this stuff up. This is quotes from him. This is all be verified. Now, that's 2 of the 5 people we're going to mention. There are about 20 speakers. I narrowed it down to the 5 best of the worst. You also have Siraj Wahaj. So who's this charming gentleman? Actually, he's Jeffrey Kiersey. He was raised in Brooklyn, New York. His mother was a nurse, his father dietitian, good Baptist. He went to church regularly. He became a Sunday school teacher in his church at the age of 19. And then he goes and pays a visit to none other than the Nation of Islam in 1969. And then everything changed for him. He was named as a particular co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. And that's who's speaking at this conference, to impress young Islamists on how to live their lives. He supports stoning to death anyone who commits adultery. And what's interesting about his family history is he does have 8 children, and he feels that he should cut the hands off those who rob. He doesn't clarify if you're robbing, a car, or if you're robbing a candy from the candy store, but anybody who's accused of thievery, as he calls it, should have their hands cut off. He has 8 children, presently aged 32 to 52. That's quite a span. 3 of his children have been charged with terrorism and felony child abuse. And that's another speaker coming up in Toronto. Don't miss him. Perhaps we can get his autograph. Then also we have Tariq Jamil. And it reminds me of where have I heard that before? My parents always used to say, finish a meal. Come on, don't leave any food on the table. Finish a meal. He's a Pakistani preacher who attributes COVID-19 to the immodesty of women. It's a plague from God because women are immodest. And he says, quote, when a Muslim's daughter practices immodesty and the youth indulges in immorality, then Allah's torment is unto such a nation, and that's why God gave us COVID. Let's see. Let me find another guest speaker at this conference. We have none other than the infamous. This gentleman you find. I'm going to leave him on for a minute so see if anybody recognizes him. Baham Abdul Rauf. Anybody recognize him yet? An NBA basketball player. Not always was his name Mohammed. His name was Christopher Jackson. He converted to Islam, changed his name, and played basketball. But he's most famous in America anyway for a little stunt he pulled. In 1996, when he was the first one who refused to stand for the Star-Spangled Banner. I bet our basketball player who was recently in Russia, almost serving 9 years in prison, regrets not standing for the banner when she did the same stunt. So the NBA suspended him. And after losing over $31,000 per game, he decided he's going to stand up for the national anthem from now on. Well, the Nuggets decided maybe they could find somebody else. So he was being interviewed by a variety of other NBA teams, including the New York Knicks. Well, while he's undergoing these basically these interviews and auditions to play basketball in the big league, which he was already in, he decided to, on television during an interview, say the following. Mahmoud, take it away. What did you say? After 9/11, he stated on television that 9/11 terrorist attacks were an inside job and that he was sure, not maybe, but he was sure that Israel was involved in order to frame al-Qaeda. After that comment on television, he never was drafted again, never played pro NBA ball again. So at least there's some repercussions for his action. I don't really mind if people want to be racists and bigots, but they've got to be held accountable for their actions as he was. Another superstar of the Islamic Relief and of the upcoming RIS Conference is Omar Suleiman. Omar says the Zionists are the enemies of God. That's what he's going to preach at his meeting. And Israel wants to kill off Palestinians. That's not true. We want to kill off people before they kill us first. So it's not all Arabs, all Muslims, all Palestinians. It's just those who don't think we should exist. He also says homosexuality is a disease and a repugnant, shameless sin deserving the death penalty. So perhaps he should leave Canada, America, and go move to Iran, perhaps. Omar, you have anything else to say for yourself this evening? Then we have none other than Zaid Salim Shakir, who says, as Christians and Jews of this country have rejected the divine law and created their own secular system of rule, the legal and political system of America is sinful and constitutes open rebellion against Allah. For a Muslim to join with the Jews and Christians in this system is to join them in their rebellion against Allah. And by the way, he's one of the co-founders of Zaytuna College in Berkeley, California.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we've spoken about this university before, a college which only offers one degree, which we'll discuss momentarily. I'm going to get through this part awfully quickly due to time. We can spend a lot of time just speaking about Zaytuna College, but just the highlights. Zaytuna College offers only one accredited degree, and that's a degree in Islamic law and theology, but they also apparently do some weapons training on campus. They don't have a basketball team or a golf team, but they do learn to use their crossbows. In addition, as I said, two other radical Islamists are Zaytuna founders, including Hatem Bazian and Hamza Yusuf. So Hamza, what do you have to say for yourself? Basically, he was another white American who, after traveling around the United Arab Emirates, Saudi, and Africa, decided he's going to become a Muslim. And he states in no unequivocal terms, America is a country that has little to be proud of in its past and less to be proud of in its present. And he's a citizen of this country, not by choice, but by birth. This is who the speakers at the upcoming conference hang out with. He resides in this country by conviction and attempting to spread the message of Islam. Don't be fooled by terrorists in suits. We could say a lot about Hatem Bazian, but we've already spoken about him. In the interest of time, we won't talk anymore, except that he is a very bad influence on the youth of our country and protests how we haven't done enough and that America and Canada should join in an intifada. Last but not least is our final speaker, who I'm going to discuss briefly. And that's Sana Khan.
Yep.
I don't know how many of you watch Bollywood. Sana Khan was in movies and television advertising. She began a career and went on to advertisements, film, and television. She's been featured in over 50 television commercials. And again, please, everybody, this is not any insult or respect to Sana. But on October 8th, she stated she was quitting the entertainment industry and would serve humanity and follow in the order of her creator, which is fine. I have no problem with that, nor should anybody. So on November 21st, 2020, she married Islamic scholar Mufti Anas Sayed. And now she has Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And I'm kind of surprised that she gets away with that, actually, based on the relationships between Muslim women and their duties in the household. But she does have time for social media. She'll be speaking at the conference. I'm sure she'll be addressing these very important issues, like her map of what we call Israel, which she doesn't seem to. What she proudly proclaims is it was Palestine, it is Palestine, it will always be Palestine. She too is not quite familiar with the history. Hashtag Free Palestine, stop the attacks. We're going to bring Mayor Wright back on the screen, but I always like to end my little things with a little quote from Einstein, who said, "The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who sit back and do nothing. Only together can we fight anti-Semitism." So, Mayor, I'm going to bring you back on screen. And here's Mayor once again, and I'm going to sign off now. Mayor, talk to you later.
Yes, thank you. That's very important, that information. One other regarding Sana Khan is she also thinks Hitler is a great man. You imagine this? She thinks Hitler is a great man. A rabid anti-Semite. So we listed quite a few people who are speaking at this conference. Now, several years ago, the Prime Minister of Canada attended the conference and spoke at the conference. We're very concerned that prime ministers, members of parliament may be attending again and legitimizing this anti-Semitism. A number of months ago, the Jewish community was extremely upset. It came to light about a rabid anti-Semite called Laith Marouf, who was receiving government funding to spread his vicious anti-Semitism. He was exposed, and various members of parliament were exposed for their dealings with him. And the government committed itself, the Liberal Party of Canada government committed itself to fighting anti-Semitism and not having any kind of a hand in this anti-Semitism. Well, if we're going to have members of parliament attend this conference with such personalities, such vicious anti-Semites and people who praise Hitler and deny the Holocaust, what does that say? That is more dangerous to the Jewish community than 10 or a dozen Laith Maroufs. This is extremely serious. I'm asking people, contact the Solicitor General, Michael Kersner, and ask him or demand from him that he takes action, at least to send the police and monitor this event and to make a statement, a public statement, that that's exactly what they're going to be doing. It's extremely critical right now that action be taken. So please, contact your members of parliament, contact any politician that you know. Also contact community leaders to be active on this issue. We can't fall asleep at the switch. Not when they're already coming into our community and they promise to continue to come back. They attack Jewish business owners that advertise products from Israel. They come in all over the Jewish community now. We can't allow it to happen. We have to stand up and we have to expose these anti-Semites. That's exactly what they are. I want to thank everyone for joining us, watching the show. Please share this on whatever platforms you're with. Like I said at the start, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram will reach a lot more people. If you have email lists, please copy the link, send it out. Let's get this message out right away. The event again is happening starting Friday at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. And I implore you, don't turn a blind eye. Thank you very much. I'm Mayor Weinstein with the Never Again Live show. Please share this, and thank you very much for joining us.
I'm going to try to sound off with Hatikva, but due to the internet being slow, if it slows down, it doesn't play, we're going to say goodbye now. If not, enjoy Hatikva and happy Hanukkah to everybody who's out there.
Hag Sameach. Yep.
And let's give it a try.
נפש יהודי הומייה ולפתן מזרח קדימה עין לציון צופיה עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו שנות אלפיים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
And that's over and out. Mayor, I'm signing off.